Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Heroes Show. You got Cory, Nick, and Shane here with you as always, and it's Monday, which means that we are talking about Ted Lasso. Episode 3 of Season 2 is now streaming on Apple TV+. We will be talking big-time spoilers on this episode, so if you haven't seen any of these first 3 episodes, please turn away and come back to us once you have. Shane, I'll defer to you. It's earlier in the day over in Texas. You're an hour behind us. So how are you?
I act like I'm in Europe or something.
Well, you have a giant map behind you.
I
you
do.
are a world traveler.
I need to hang that.
Yeah,
but now
really
it's just like part of my being.
It's okay. I have posters. Look, I have a Han Solo poster here that's on a chair, and then I have a Dark Knight poster that you can't see because my microphone is blocking it, but it's on like an ottoman. I have so much random shit in this room. It's terrible. So how are you doing? Are you doing well?
I'm good. Can't complain. Weekend's almost over.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah, the magic of television. We're recording this on Sunday night. Nick, how are you today?
Doing well.
I just
drove 2.5 hours to be here.
Fun.
Yeah, no, it's doing well though. I'm awake.
That's
so
good.
Drove safely. And
did you have to endure I-4 traffic at all?
No.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it was a smooth drive. So just thinking about Ted Lasso on the way of what took place in the episode, what to say, and to see what you gents might have to say as well, and what might come for the future of Ted Lasso.
Yeah, we're now a quarter of the way through this second season. I will get started this time because I just want to be the person to say that I hope Jamie Tart dies of the incurable disease of being a little bitch. That was easily my favorite moment in the entire episode. I know there was a lot of really good stuff in it, and there's a lot of like heartwarming, touching shit, but just the way Roy delivers that line was fantastic, and I don't have anything else that I have to say. So Nick, I'll let you go second on this one. What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Let her rip.
Man, just seeing more of Roy Kent, of course. How he explains how to have kids, just that they want to be a part of your life no matter what it is, right? And when Phoebe asks, Uncle Roy, can we have ice cream for dinner? And he's like, no, that's stupid, or he's like, that's dumb. Just the blunt honesty that he always says, and especially with him on the talk show, and it's like, "Ooh, tell us how you really feel, Roy." And he's like, "All right, you're a shit manager." It's like, not me, you twat. Like, just, I mean, I think anytime I get to see Roy Kent on screen, it's just, something hilarious is about to ensue, or just, I mean, even something that might be very real or maybe a little bit more humbling, as we've seen so far this season with him. It's just, he's been a highlight character for sure. So, but also just to see the whole Ted Lasso experiment or experience too with the team, and explaining it to the doc, but also the camaraderie that takes place, and how Jamie just tries to make amends from his past. The honesty that he tries to find within himself to the other players, like, how can I be accepted? And it's like, I'm going to buy everyone PS5s. It's like, that's cool.
I would take that if I was a teammate, just saying.
Yeah. I'd be
I
like,
might still hate the guy, but I would take the PS5.
Right. I'd be like, oh, that's really sweet of you, man. But I still think you're an asshole.
You still hit on my mom in front of my dad.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, he called him an incurable worm or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, the one guy. And, he, I think even Nathan takes a little shot at him when they're doing the 11 versus 11, and Sam, trips him and just kind of taunts him to his face, like, things have changed around here, bruv. You're not the leader on this team, bruv. And it was a great episode overall. Seeing the reconnection with Nora and Aunt Stinky, just. What a name. Stinky. I don't know if anyone in their right mind would ever want to be called that. Just even if they only see them every 6 years. Haha, just kidding. But it is by far the best episode of the 3. So I think this episode sort of sets the tone for the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Sure, I'd agree with all that. Also, while we're talking about Roy Kent, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Messi left Barcelona or whatever, and he's going to another team, and he did a press conference where he was like kind of tearing up and had to like get the snot off his nose at one point. And the actor that plays Roy Kent retweeted it and was like, "I know how you feel, bro." I thought that was pretty funny. So,
that's appropriate.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So Shane, what'd you think of this one?
By far the best episode of the season, one of the better episodes of the entire series. It kind of had it all. I mean, I have minor quibbles that we'll go over in just a couple scenes, but I mean, this kind of gave us what we needed. I laughed the entire way. There were a ton of good character arcs. Last week we talked about how Rebecca didn't have enough presence, and then she gets an entire episode to herself. It's like we knew that was going to happen, but it's good to see that they did deliver on it. Loved her, like she's really like coming into her own, standing up for herself now, and I love that little arc. I was laughing a ton throughout this episode. As you mentioned, Roy with the banter with his niece, the first where his niece responds like, "Thank you for helping me set boundaries with the ice cream." And then the line where they're talking about the dolls and she's like, "This is from the modern line. Her parents were canceled." Just had to die on that one. But no, it was an excellent episode. And then of course, Ted Lasso doing what Ted Lasso does best, taking super relevant topics and putting them into the show. So of course, the protest is a huge statement on all of the protests and the kneeling for the national anthem that athletes have been doing for the past few years. And then, I mean, even Ted Lasso's statement on when he's giving the press conference and he says like, "You writers like to write about when people like me have bad stuff happen, but not people like them." And I think that's just a great statement on sports in general. It's just great that it wove it in so naturally too. It didn't feel like it was really like, a lot of people hate when it's like obvious, and it is obvious, but it's not out of place, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like they're just trying to make political statements for the sake of it. It's a huge issue in sports that they are trying to tackle, similar to the mental health that we have mentioned. I thought it was beautifully done. The writer is Ashley Nicole Black. That is the first episode that she wrote of this show.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I think she delivered in spades, and I hope that they get her for more episodes.
Yeah, I think fresh perspectives from writers, I think that's always important. I know it's always great to want to come back and have, the same folks come in and do things because we love the work they do. But then sometimes when you get somebody from the outside that comes in and they knock one out of the park, I think that's super cool. To touch on what you're talking about with the protest stuff and it just making sense, there are a lot of shows that when they try to make a statement like that, they knock you on the head with it. And it's like, it has nothing to do with any of the other arcs, or it doesn't make a lot of sense. And in this one, it progressed Sam's character. It was an avenue for Jamie to get himself back onto the good graces of the team. It was just woven into the narrative of the story extremely well, which I do very much appreciate. Shane, you and I were texting about the scene where Rebecca's writing the email.
So good.
That
incredible. That is so just much. It. So I tried looking up the actor of Nora, and it doesn't look like she's been in stuff much, but like she stole the show. She was phenomenal. The only thing I found, I didn't even find an IMDb page. I just found like her talent agency. So they must have found her out of nowhere, and she put on just an incredible performance.
Right. I feel like this show has done that a lot. It's a lot of unknown actors with like Jason Sudeikis and then Juno Temple.
Right.
Yeah. It felt very much like the Game of Thrones, the little girl queen of
Lady
whoever. Yes.
Yeah.
It felt very similar to that, whereas like just this like badass kid that's coming in and putting on like a tour de force in acting, and that girl is actually going to be the star of The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully
this is
hopefully this is a springboard for the actress who played Nora in this, and I need to look up her name so that I don't just call her Nora. But
Yeah.
it's good to see new talent.
Yeah, I think it's also
sure.
good. You know, we've touched on this a few times, and I've made my silly jokes about not liking the character of Ted too much, but they're really giving the rest of the cast a lot of screen time on their own without having Ted in the room even with them.
Yeah.
To shine, which has been awesome. And then like the moment at the end where Ted and Sam go to the press conference together, I thought that they had terrific chemistry in that conference room. And then after it, where they have the little conversation about how you feel, and you know, doing the right thing doesn't always feel right. Sometimes it feels wrong or whatever, but at least you did it. And it was a very satisfying episode. Had emotional stuff. It had obviously very comedic stuff. You know, when they did the quick cut to the guys at the bar and they're screaming and yelling for Jamie Tart, that just,
Yeah, it was funny.
Like, these fans are a pissy bunch. It might be hard to turn them back, and then quick cut over. They're all just
I know.
going nuts for him. So yeah, anything else that either of you want to touch on in regards to this episode?
Yeah, I think one of the, you know, I imagine it was going to happen at some point, but you know, thanks to Keeley, she somewhat forced Jamie into the office of Dr. Sharon, and just she's like, so I'm just here to talk about myself, and that's it. And she's like, yeah. It's like, cool. Like, and it's just, it almost shows you just how shallow-minded his character really is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the whole George Harrison comment, like he really just doesn't have a clue, and he's just this egotistical maniac who just you know, has a talent for scoring goals, but also has a father issue. So I'm really keen on seeing his character develop more over the course of this season, and you know, the importance of Dr. Sharon and what she does. But it's like, I think as cool as that is to see that connection take place, I'm really looking forward to see when Ted and the doc have a sit down and to see that breakthrough. But not only that, but maybe something else with Rebecca, you know, because as much as she thinks she has it figured out, like I almost feel like there's going to be a low point for her this season, and that she sort of rises from it. And I don't know when that's going to happen. Of course, we've got 9 more episodes to go through. So at some point, I think it will, because again, one of the focal themes in this season is mental health. Of course, there's a therapist there for the team. So I don't think it stops with just the players. It's sort of like the entire staff, right?
Sure.
So it'll be pretty interesting.
Imagine Higgins having a sit
I
down.
mean, yeah, like I thought about that, right? Like at one point, like just maybe towards the end when she was like, you know, Higgins, just you gave up your office for me, and I've seen you all over the place, literally all over the place, continuously working, providing for the team, you know, a heads up, and just, you know, again, it might not be much, it may just be a simple conversation that we only maybe see a few, like literally a few minutes of screen time, but just enough that it's somewhat of a some sort of a breakthrough, right? So yeah, the moment I saw Obasanjo's father say the word shill, I was like, here it comes. Which, you know, to like, I know that has a very big relation to the whole, you know, flag stance and kneeling for, you know, different reasons. But I think the other thing about what takes place in this episode, it's just not so much of like, again, you talk about the camaraderie within the team, or it's like, right, like Jamie says, like, hey, we're the same team, ain't we? We got to wear the same kit, you know, and it's like you block out a sponsor that does some bad shit, and it's just like you've got this, like the evil corporations of the world, and like the government, you know, can be shady at any given time, you know, and it's like when you literally see shit like that happen, I mean, there's plenty of instances you can go through, and I'm not gonna name them here for the sake of time and just not to really dinge on this review, but just for the sake again of understanding that, like, I can't support something that has tarnished who I am as a person and my country. And well, it's interesting because you're playing for a European team, but it's affecting your country back home in an entirely different continent. But again, it's like the loyalty that Obastanya has for his father, which is a big connection in this season with the father-son relationships, but then that kind of expands to his countrymen and women, right? To support them for the decision, like, it's like, hey, I'm not going to really name any other corporation, but X corporation does this to my country from another place, and I can't stand that, so I'm done. And I like the fact that, again, you've got the president of the or the owner of the club itself going, well, we're going to stand by our player on this one, and that's not shilling at all. It's just look, we're not going to get endorsed by this. So that being said, they just lost their biggest contributor.
Yeah. Or they just said earlier in the episode that they were in financial trouble.
Right. So the question is, how is this really going to affect the players if they say, we can't pay you what you were getting paid. Yeah. We're working on it. But again, you've got people, I don't know who it is, but someone drives a really fancy car.
Somebody has a Lamborghini, I think they said.
Yeah. And I know, I don't think it was Jamie Tart at the time either, right? So like some of these players live pretty lavishly, and I guess rightfully so when you make that kind of money. But what do, right? Who's the sponsor that's going to pop in? That'd be hilarious.
That's got to be where they're going with it, right?
You heard it here first.
There's no way that's not going to happen, right?
It's impossible.
By the end of the season, yes, I think that
Banter will be the sponsor.
It's fine.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. A dating app has sponsored Richmond's football club. But yeah, like that I was like, man, what are they going to do now? How are they going to get someone to provide for them for money, support? Who are they going to have on their jersey? Like, are they just going to have Banter on there now? I mean, it's a possibility.
They're going to raise ticket prices at the stadium, which leads to no fans going to the show or the matches.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot that they set up by doing that for this next chunk of the season, which
does it affect the players? Again, does it affect the camaraderie? It's like, hey, we stand by your decision, but now we ain't getting paid, bruv.
Yeah, now you're impacting me by doing
right.
What you did,
so I think, again, it's a show about drama, right? Like you got to have these toasty moments. So again, I think the scope of this season kind of gets drawn in a different perspective now, which I think is kind of exciting to see what unfolds. And again, you've got this doctor going,
yeah,
that was an interesting choice.
She's everywhere and nowhere all at the same time.
I don't know if you guys did this, but every time like it's on their own practice, I'm like looking beyond them and the bleachers to see if she's moving down like forward every time,
just to see what she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about what's swirling through her brain, because basically all she does is listen at this point, right? Because she's just doing what
watch,
does.
Observe.
I want her assessment. I want to hear what she thinks. And
I agreed.
I think we'll get it before.
For sure.
There's a lot of season left, man. This 12 episodes is long compared to what most shows on streaming platforms are doing nowadays. So we're not even technically done with the first act. That would be sometime next week. Although I did read, I think it was the guy that plays Coach Beard said that when they crafted this season, they had built it based off the model they had last year, where the first 3 episodes all dropped at the same time. And they actually wrote these 3 episodes under the assumption that people would binge. And then
interesting.
Apple's model is for season 1, it's 3 episodes at once and then weekly. And then for anything that's a second season, it's just weekly straight out. So it is interesting when you think about it that way, that their whole idea was that you'd watch one after the other, and it almost kind of plays out like a miniature movie to a degree, and then sets the rest of the season off to go wherever it's going. But Shane, I think you said you had some quibbles. I don't know if we got into those or not, but
oh, really? I think the only quibble I had was, and I texted you about this, the workout bike scene where he's texting his parents. It was like, it's to me like a clumsy way to introduce that problem Or Nick, as you mentioned, like corporate chill,
Yeah.
etc. It's like it felt like it was about to hit you over the head with it, and then it didn't. And so I was pleasantly surprised by that. But I'm never a fan of like text conversations in movies, and especially when they're setting up like the big plot of the episode. It just felt a little like strong. Like his dad's like typing so fast too. It's like paragraphs in like 10 seconds.
So what do you prefer, Shane? Do you prefer when they film the phone, or when it's like a weird little just tchotchke graphic that pops up that looks like a text bubble?
Neither. Just fine. I hate the text bubble. Like showing the phone is better. Okay. But I would have preferred like a different way to introduce that problem rather than like a text thread. I guess, I mean, you could have even had him on the phone, like talking to his
like
dad.
a voicemail, maybe like, I'm on the phone with the bike. I missed a call from my dad. I get off.
FaceTime? Like that's.
I mean, yeah.
It is an Apple show, so
yeah, that would have been more.
They mentioned the iCloud account. Beard.
Shared an iCloud account.
There's a lot of Apple product placement
Digital
in
intimacy.
the show for sure. A couple of Easter eggs I wanted to point out before we finish off.
Those are good. I can put them in the thumbnail for the video.
So
boost the algorithm. Yes.
There's
subscribe.
There's only a couple. One is, you remember last week we talked about Roy Kent's aversion to eyebrow work.
Yes.
Well, Jamie walked in. He's like, I had this great idea when I was getting my eyebrows threaded. I was like,
You're right.
It's like polar
You're right.
opposites. So good. Jamie would be the one who gets his eyebrows done.
While he's wearing a hat
not.
that says icon on it. What a turd.
What a turd.
Other thing, so they've referenced the You've Got Mail in this show before. However, like this banter app seems to be kind of setting up a You've Got Mail tribute. And the reason why I think that is they named the character Nora, and the writer-director of You've Got Mail is Nora Ephron. And so like it feels like a homage of sorts. But then there's also her username is Boss Girl in the thing, but Meg Ryan's username in You've Got Mail is Shop Girl. So I don't know. They could be setting up sort of like the banter thing, like a romance where, you know, two of our characters are unknowingly conversing and falling in love, and then later they meet each other. I could totally see that happening, and I wonder if they'll do it as like kind of a you know both, or you only know one, and then like it's a reveal later on. I don't know.
It's got to be Rebecca and someone then, right?
Yes.
So who do we think it's gonna be? Nate?
I hope
that'd be hilarious.
Ted.
But
I really hope it's not Ted. I could see them doing it.
Yeah, I
hope they don't. Especially because like they kind of canceled the sassy romance in this episode.
Right.
Like it seems like they just like they're gonna get along as friends and not gonna go there.
But she did say it was wonderful. So I wonder if they got Becca thinking like.
She like spits out her thing, right?
Yeah, she's showing the biscuits, and she just like yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, are they setting up a Ted Rebecca romance?
Well, maybe not a romance, but maybe they show up to a date and it's each other, and they're just like, "Oh, fuck,
oh God,
we gotta get out of here.
we can't do this."
Yeah, and maybe they make a workplace commentary, romance in the workplace commentary. I don't know. It seems like they're setting that up, especially with all the references to it. But hey, that's really all I had. Not a ton of other Easter eggs in this one, but I wanted to call out those.
Fun stuff. Well, I guess to wrap this one up, we got to give it a score. Obviously, I think we're all kind of in agreement this has been the best one of the season so far. Shane, how you grading this one?
I don't do half points, but this is about as close to a 10 as you can get without. I'm not going to give it a 10. I'll give it a 9.
Wow, all right.
But it's very close. If I did half scores, it would be a 9.5, but I don't, so I'll round down.
All right.
Ooh,
Nick.
Spicy, man. If I'm going by Shane's score, then I would have to go a 9.
Okay.
But per usual on the Real Heroes, I would say 8.5. But I think it's generally within that range. Like it really hit on all points as we've discussed. So best one thus far, and I think, like I said, it's a bar setter for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think just to to go against the grain with Shane on this, I'm going to give it an 8.875 just to add as many.
It's in between 8.5 and 9. There we go. Hey.
Just as many numbers after the decimal as possible. No, I was thinking a 9 for this one. It was very strong. I'm nervous to see if they'll even be able to top it in the remaining 9 episodes, but only time will tell on that one. So there you have it, folks. That's season 2, episode 3, reviewed by The Real Heroes. We would love to hear what you guys have to say. Where do you think the season's going from here? Are we going to have a Rebecca Ted romance angle, for as cringy as that might be? Maybe it'll make for some good television, who knows? But let us know what you think. Drop us that comment below and let us know. And if you'd like to support us, you can do so for free. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on your notifications, and share this video with your friends. We will be back this week. We have Marvel Wednesdays again, What If premieres, which Shane hates Marvel, so he won't be on that shit, but we will be, and we can't wait to talk about it. And
you'll
then we
watch
also
it
have...
and just like kill your buzz afterwards.
No, you won't. I'll mute your text. It's fine. And then we'll also be back on Friday for the season finale of The Bad Batch, which is another thing that Shane hasn't watched, so he won't be on that shit either. So make sure to stay tuned for all of those things and more. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Cheers.